Hi, I'm Dr. Marianne Cintron, founder of Step by Step Dyslexia Solutions. This is a video it's called Orton Gillingham 101. It's for beginners. I know you're having a hard time getting the proper help for your child, and maybe you want to be trained and you're having the hard time coming up with the money for a 3-year program to be trained. Well, I'm going to show you 10 to 12 easy steps that are for you to work with your child who has dyslexia. And first of all, I want to explain what Orton Gillingham is. Sam Orton and Anna Gillingham were the pioneers back in the early 30s and 40s of what we now know as dyslexia, but they discovered a multisensory approach to helping children learn to read. So I have a couple of webinars that talk about all this. You know, how do you learn best? Is it because when you see something or touch something or hear something or even speak? Do you ever solve your own problems by talking? Well, the multisensory approach, or they call those modalities, that is the best way to teach children with dyslexia. In fact, we all learn best when we use multiple modalities. But the Orton Gillingham is not a curriculum, it's a model. And my mom taught me to sew when I was a young girl, and we had simplicity patterns and we had Vogue patterns and we had McCall. So the simplicity patterns were the basic, cut this out, make a shift, make a cute little top. The McCall had a little bit more complications to it, have a cuff in your sleeve, have a special collar. And the Vogue, woohoo, that was for prom or to make a suit. Okay, so different levels of how to sew, and there's different levels of how to teach reading. The multisensory approach is going to have you use multiple modalities. So a multisensory, and it has to be direct and explicit, which means you're not going to have your child go to a computer and figure it out. You're not going to have a friend teach your child. You're going to teach the child the phonics, the grammar rules. You're going to work with your child. The program has to be structured, which means you have very specific things you're going to use. It has to be systematic, which means you're going to do this step before this step, and then you're going to do this step before this step. It's going to be sequential, which means every step makes sense of why it's in the order that it is. So it has to be diagnostic, which means you're going to be reviewing some of your child's errors. And it's going to be prescriptive, which means you're going to plan ahead how you're going to help your child learn SH, word families like INK. So we call all those different structures and sequential, diagnostic, prescriptive. Those are the components of being a multisensory Orton Gillingham based reading program. I remember someone asked me, what curriculum do you use? Well, there's not really a curriculum because the purpose is to work one-on-one with the student, and you're going to teach them what they don't know and review what they struggle with and teach them new stuff. So every child is going to be different, and also every student's progress would be at a different pace. So there's no one set curriculum. However, there is this wonderful book, The ABCs of OG, and everything I show you today is available in my reading program. I've got 2 reading programs, but the ABCs of OG has been very helpful because it gives you words with the letters you're trying to teach, and it gives you sentences. So that's really a good tool, and it's really hard to get on your own unless you have the Orton Gillingham training. So I've had over 200 hours of Orton Gillingham training, and I just know I need to move on and get this information out because I know you need help with your child. So the first step is a warm-up. So we want to warm the student up with substitutions of sounds, but first we start them with 2 syllables, dropping off a syllable, have them say the remaining syllable, then go to 3 syllables, drop off the first syllable or drop off the last syllable. Going to different 4-letter words, dropping off the first letter, 3 and 4-letter words. So I have Cintron's substitutions here. I developed this out of my word list. And the way you know where to start is there is a free assessment online. It's called the PAST, P-A-S-T, and it's by Kilpatrick. You can download this, and it lets you do a pre-screen of your child to see, do they know how to easily drop off the first letter? Do they know how to substitute a first letter? Do they know how to drop off a syllable out of a 2-syllable word? Do they know how to drop off a syllable out of a 3-syllable word? So some of your kids will know all that. So you want to know where to go into the warm-ups. So for example, they have level D, level E, level F, level G, H, I, J, K, L, M. So there's a lot of levels. I have, in my warm-ups, I have different tabs for my different students because I'm actually tutoring 6 students. And part of why my office is a mess, I have this student I'm going to tutor in 2 hours. I have this student I'm going to tutor in 1 hour. So you have to lay this stuff out with Orton Gillingham and be ready. So for example, if you have a 2-syllable word, say decide, and then you say it again without D, and the student will say side. Say impose, say it again without M, and the student will say pose. Say rotate, say it again without row, and the student will say tate. So that is dropping off 1 syllable from a 2-syllable word. Then we move to the 3-syllable words, and I have a student there. So I would say ambition, say it again without am. So they're always repeating the word, and then they're saying it when you tell them what to leave off. So then we have jumping. I'm not going to go through every level, but that was, well, E was the 3 syllables. F is dropping off a letter. So say snob, say it again without the S, and the child will say knob. Say Scott, say it again without the S, and the child will say cot. Say snub, say it again without the S, and the child will say sub. So in my level 1 program, I use a whiteboard that does a lot of these deletions and asks you the beginning letter names and sounds. But this is a nice replacement. Now that I've developed it, I'm going to let this be part of my level 1 as well, instead of some whiteboard activities. So moving on to some more of the more challenging. What if I said, say weld? Now change the D to T. Welt. Say gong. Change the G to purr. And the student will say prong. Say jump. Change the J to ul. Lump. So sometimes you wouldn't believe it, but those vowel teams and consonant teams will be difficult for the child, and so they need to practice with that. What about say clash? Change the cul to cur. So now the child's looking at 2. It's called a consonant team. Let me stop that. I should have stopped that. So clash to crash, munch to crunch. So you can create your own word list. You can go online, get a word list with a certain SH or CH and make your own rhymes. You know how to rhyme words, but if you need some help, reach out to me and I'll let you have this copy of consonant, the substitutions. Okay, so that's step 1. So that's the warm-up. Step 2 is you want to use phonogram cards. So I have 101 phonograms. Okay. And So sometimes I just add my own here if I can't find it. Sometimes I misplace them, but I have 101 phonograms and I put a rubber band around them this way. Then I have some of the phonograms that I've already gone through with the student, and I put the rubber band this way. This is how I know these are the ones we're going to do for the day. So you pick about 10 to 15 phonograms, and the students already knows these, okay? He's already practiced them, but now we're giving the practice to say them automatically with writing. So wh, ul, g, k, s, or k, ank, unk, onk, okay? Ing, ang, ong, th, sh. So these are just the ones that I've selected. Every student will be different. That's why you need a set of these for every student you're working with. I also have small cards like this, and I'll explain to you what we use those for. So after you drill with your child the phonogram cards, you're going to want to ask him, how do we spell this? So let me show you what that's about. So I have a form, it's called How Do You Spell? And there's 10 lines. So you're gonna have a paper for you and a paper for your child. And you're gonna keep his or her work in one tab. And then your work is gonna be in one tab, because you're gonna make some little notes on the side if your child is having some struggles. So these early sounds are pretty easy. And also these will follow the Orton Gillingham scope and sequence for the beginning sounds. So after the child has practiced, now I'm going to ask the child, say what? I have one student that goes, what? So I say, how do you spell what? And they're going to write on number 1, WH. I put mine in a little slash because that means sounds like, but they're just going to write WH. Then I go, say ul, ul. So how do we spell ul? Put that on number 2. And they will write ul. Now, if they know floss words, they will add LL. So then I say, okay, say G. How do we spell G? And they always repeat. So they're going to go G, and they're going to put, that's it. That's the hard sound of G. If they know GH, they'll write GH. So the more sounds the student learns, those are the sounds they're going to be accountable for. So they're going to go, you just pick 10 sounds. What gets really fun is when you do K, because the child's going to learn C, they're going to learn K, they're going to learn CK. When you do O, they're going to learn O consonant E, they're going to learn OA, they're going to learn OW for snow. They're going to learn a lot of sounds for O. And as they learn more and more, they're going to be expected to know those. Now, if the child forgets some, just put them in the margin here. And these are what you will practice in a couple steps down the road. So I hope that's clear. Those are the first 3 steps. Okay. So then we have sound blending. So this is kind of like step 4. I have small phonogram cards that match the large cards. And when I look at the Orton Gillingham model of the scope and sequence, it looks like this. So starting off, you're going to need to refer to this a little bit, and the student should know CH, SH, WH, NG, and K, and some of the floss letters. So when the student learns and spends more and more time with you, you're going to put those new sounds into these, use the cards for that, related to that. But I want to show you what I do. I separate the consonants out, which are the white cards, put the X out of there. So I have the consonants, and then I have the vowels, which are green. And then today I'm going to actually work with the NK and the NG. So what I do is I just put the white cards in front. Now the student is going to, they're going to be nonsense words, but you're going to rotate the sounds. So I'm going to move the H and it's going to be hink. I'm going to have the P, pink. Oh, that's a real word. Link. Oh, that's a real word. Mink, real word. Sink. Wow, look at all the real words with ink. Okay, going to go to onk. Tonk. Ooh, almost like Tonka truck, right? Fonk. Gonk. Wonk. Okay, so you get the idea. And you rotate these. Let's maybe do ank, kank, dank. Now look at this. Bank. Notice how I colored in my B. This lets the student know this is the B. It's not the D because they get really confused. But coloring B for blue means B. So bank. So you want to pick 3 sounds that you're going to practice with your child. The other one I'm going to practice is what. So I need a vowel for that. What? And then I need my consonant afterwards. So this is all going to be laid out on your table. So whip. Oh, real word. So you can change the consonant or you can change the beginning blend. Wit. I try not to do L's because that's floss, and I whim. Whis. Let's change the vowel. Whap. What? This is actually a real word. It's pronounced what. But we have wham, okay? So then go ahead and change your beginning sound. So you have the. Okay, well, I don't like to do the floss words. So the floss sounds are, if it's an S or an L or an F or even a Z, you're going to double it with a 1-syllable word when that's at the end. Those are called the floss words, and they are top hits in the beginning. So that's pretty much the gist of how to do the cards. And this is called sound blending. And it's very important to do this in the sequence. If you get anything a little out of order, it's okay. It takes some practice. So that is called sound blending. Then what I do is go into my previous words. So I'm going to be writing really neatly when I do this. You can either use this paper as your guide. So it's going to be step 4, or it's going to be part of this. Let me grab my ABCs of OG. When I work with these, I take them out, I scan them. So I have them online. I don't know why my color is changing there. I have them online, and then I can upload them onto my computer because I work, I think it's the blue that's toning that. I work with kids on Zoom. So I can upload it in the computer and have them read words that they've already learned. So we're doing review of words, and I have them read 2 or 3 sentences with the skills that they've learned. So we don't want to say sound, we want to say skill. And ask them questions. Ask them related questions to what you taught them. So the review is really important. And if you find that the students struggle with automaticity on that review, that's when you're going to write on a little sidebar. You could write, I have a daily planner like this because we want to teach a concept and then we want to review it. So all these planners are part of my kit, but you could very easily just put the 10 steps And then day 1 is when you teach it. Day 2 is the review. So you want to make little notes on the side if things aren't automatic, because they're a good opportunity for the review of blending sounds. Okay, so now we're ready for step 5, which is teaching the new sound. So when we're teaching a new sound, we always want to air write it first. So for example, today is my review of A consonant E. So I'll have the students say A consonant E, A. A consonant E, A. A consonant E, A. A consonant E, that's an E, A, says A. So when we have so many syllable types. There are 6 syllable types, and then we have animal names for some of the syllable types, and the kids love those. But when we're teaching A consonant E, I'm going to take out the vowel cards, which are these, and then I'm going to take out my consonant cards. And then my consonant cards, I like to work with 2 sets sometimes, otherwise I just split up the 1 set. And I'm going to use my my ABCs of OG book and take out my A consonant E list. So what I really love is how the book shows you have the student pull out the cards. So we always want to have this the student repeat the word and then tap it out with their fingers. So say fat and then f, a, t. So get the cards for fat. So it's a little tricky to set these out on my desk and show you that. But imagine, here we go. F, A, and then I don't want to take, oh, here we go. T, have the student, now you point to the letter name and say it, F-A-T. Fat becomes fate, and they repeat, fat becomes fate. So we add the sneaky E. Some people call this the magic E. The Orton Gillingham calls it the sneaky E. And what's really fun is I have this little hat because the E wears many hats. And I have these Unifix cubes. So consonants get a blue cube. When you set this on the table, you just put a blue cube by the consonant, you put a red cube by the vowel, and then we put the white by the sneaky E. And I just take this out together so that the student knows that silent E is there. So then I will say, okay, and then I take the E away. Fat becomes hat, and they repeat it. Fat becomes hat. So for my level 1, you've already learned the F goes away and the H comes down. And then the procedure is you point, H-A-T says hat. Then hat becomes hate. They bring the E down and bring that little white Unifix cube with the little picture if you want. Hat becomes hate, H-A-T-E. And then when I start a new sound, so those 2 are rhymed, but when I start a new sound, for example, mad, that's when I'm going to have them show their hands. Say mad, M-A-D. Okay, so what are the letters for mad? So the consonants are on their desk. They're going to pull those letters together, and they're going to point, M-A-D. They can say the letter names now because with our fingers, we said the sounds. So M-A-D, mad becomes made. They're going to bring the D-E down. M-A-D-E says made. So you're going to practice with maybe about 8 to 10 words. And then we have in the ABCs of OG, they have the, you're going to have your student read the words that they just pulled the cards down for. And then there's sentences that are pre-scripted. You can always write your own sentences if you want. And then you want to ask some questions of the words and of the sentences. And so how many of you like to save time? I certainly like to look for as many shortcuts as I can. And one of them that I found out, because of the 101 cards, you're gonna, how I color coded them were suffix, vowels, a consonant, E, floss. There's a lot to muffle through when you're pulling your cards out. So I have these other cards that are pictures associated with the letters. I don't really use these a whole lot, and I have a lot printed out, so I'll send them to you if you want to order my cards. And I just write something here again. So instead of wondering, where's my SH? I'm just going to write SH. Where's my NK? I'm just going to put NK. And it really helps with vowel teams. Where's the EE? Where's the OU? Just rewrite it. And when you find it, you find it. And if you have extra, you do. So one of the things when you're teaching new sounds, we record it. Let me show you a paper. We have the daily planner where you write a lot of your notes on. We have the how do you spell paper, which you do some notes as well. And then we have the sequence of Orton Gillingham skills taught. So there's 3 papers you're going to want to keep updated and current. This is where I have the clean process of the words that I'm teaching. So I put the date, I put that I'm teaching a consonant E, and then I put the date and I'm reviewing a consonant E. And then on the last column, there's a column for syllable types, because we're also going to want to teach syllable types, and we're going to want to teach the doubling rule, and we're going to want to teach the Y changes to I when you add ES rule. So there's other rules that we can put here as well. So one of the things you're going to want to learn when you're teaching, the new sounds, sometimes when you do a review, you'll have a little bit more time than other times. And I always have a syllable type ready to teach the student. So we have a syllable type that's called rabbit words. And the rabbit is, now everything I'm teaching here, I also have YouTube videos at length that actually teaches you this step. So you can search on my YouTube channel, dyslexia-solutions.com, which you're on it now anyway. But look at rabbit, R-A-B-B-I-T. We have a student underline the vowels in green and write V above both vowels. We get another color pen, maybe blue, and we draw a squiggly line between the B and the B. Those are consonant teams. We put a little dot at the bottom, and then we scoop to the outside. And it actually looks like a little rabbit face. And the kids really like it. So words that are rabbit words are muffin, velvet, tennis, bandit, sudden, plastic. You'll notice the 2 vowels have 2 consonants in the middle. Then we also have monster rabbit words where there's going to be 3 consonants in between the vowels. And then with 3 consonants, you're just going to keep 2 of the 3 together. They might go to the beginning, they might go to the second syllable. But we want to start weaving in the syllable types. I think as soon as you can, when you start learning, because kids need to be able to understand and wrap their head around syllables. So when they can relate it to an animal, how fun is that? We have camel syllables, C-A-M-E-L. And what that is a short vowel in the first syllable, and the consonant follows that short vowel. Camel. Let me see something here. I have words like lemon, cabin, robin, punish, radish, melon. Those are all camel words. And we want to teach that the short vowel needs a protector consonant. And this is a steady theme with Orton Gillingham. In my level 1, I'll teach TCH, the T in the word watch protects the short vowel. And anyway, so those are camel words. Then we have tiger words where you have a long vowel in the first syllable. So you have tiger, G-E-R. So other words that are tiger words are solar, frozen, raven, haven, pupil, bison, truly, even. So these are 2 vowels underlined and the consonant stays with the second syllable. Those are tiger words. Then we have egret, E-G-R-E-T. Many people don't know this one, but this is when a vowel starts, is the first syllable, like the word idle, ego, iris, elect. Those are called egret rules. And then we have reptile words. We have turtle words. Turtle words are consonant LE, like sizzle, muzzle, kettle. It's a consonant LE after the vowel. And then we have reptile, which is, it always ends with the E of, it's T-I-L-E, C-A-P-E, P-E-T-E. Let me pause a minute here. And how we describe the reptile word is the first syllable is closed, like cat, dog, you know, it's closed and the vowel's in the middle. Second syllable has a magic E, okay? So trombone, confuse, pollute, costume. All these syllable types are really, really helpful for the students. And I keep those in another tab. Okay, so after, and then I have another tracking. There's a lot of different tracking you can do. So while you have, let me see something. While you have the Orton Gillingham model, the first paper shows what should be taught pretty much in the order. So you know that you have the sound EE, and you have AU, AY, OY, OI. You have these sounds down here. Then you have this paper to correspond with it that shows you how many sounds each, like the long A has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 ways we write it. The short E has 2 ways we write it. The long O has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 ways we write it. So I like to teach a couple of them that are closely related, and then go to a different sound, and then come back and then check these off and date them as you're teaching them to your student. So I have students who've been with me over 100 hours, and we're getting into that deeper. In the beginning, you're just going to be introducing. OW says O for snow, and then you want to show OW says ow for plow, and then move on to something else. But we always want to teach and we want to review. If you need to pause this and get a little drink or a little break, come back because we're almost finished. So after you teach the new sounds, you're going to have the student read the words on the paper, and then you're going to have them read the sentences that they worked on. And then we're going to take out our how do you spell paper, and be sure you ask them some questions because comprehension for these kids is very important. Then we're going to take out this paper of how do you spell. Now we're going to select 10 words for the student to write. The trick to this is you want them to tap out the sounds, and then you want them to write it and then tell you the letter names that they wrote. after every word. There's a lot of repetition, tapping out. It really, you see the value of it when you're teaching blends and consonant teams, ch, sh. And then when we talk about two syllables, I'll use two hands. This syllable, this hand sounds out this syllable, this hand sounds out the second syllable. So in the beginning, when I first introduced it, there's so many words I want the student to know. So it's like when I hold this up, I block some of my screen so the color changes. But you can give 10 words with that new sound. When you do your review, you can give them 5 words that you recently taught the day before, and then some of their previous words that you reviewed that you made a note that they were struggling with. And then if you have a lesson like OE says, O like toe, aloe, oboe, there's not very many words with OE. So put those OE words and get some review words in here. And what you're looking for is automaticity. Again, you have your paper that you're going to keep in one of your tabs, and you can refer to it when you do your word review. Their papers I keep in a separate tab, and I send them home maybe once a month. I just give the parent the list of words that they've worked on, and you can really see their progress. So SOS is you're going to sound it out, spell it, they repeat the word, and then they say the letter names after they write it. If they're able to say the name as they're writing it, that's amazing. But I find that's really hard for my students to do. Then we have COPs, which are the sentences. So for the younger students, I have short sentences or I have phrases, and I explain there's no subject, there's no verb, so you don't have to capitalize, you don't need to put a period. But this COPs means you're going to capitalize, you're going to punctuate. Does your sentence make sense? And is it organized? So one way to be sure that your sentence makes sense, have them repeat the sentence after you give it to them. And the sentence is going to have 1, 2, or 3 words from the list that they practiced. And it may have some review, so you have to be careful which sentences you pick, because if they haven't practiced the word, you're going to give them a freebie of making a mistake, because really they don't learn it unless they're taught explicitly. So I give my older students 3 sentences, and I always say, do your COPs, do your COPs. So they put their periods, they check their capitalization. Very, very important. So after you do that, the students know they're coming to the end, and sometimes that is the end of the lesson. Yay! But sometimes if you have a shorter lesson, or you're having a second or third day of review, and it doesn't really take the full day, I like to go into my computer and get some decodable readers that I have uploaded, and I start them at a level that they can read comfortably. And the decodable readers have the pictures, so the younger students love that. And I have a little checklist that I check off what reader they've completed. And then some of the readers don't have the pictures. And so when the student gets to the end of the level 1 decodable readers, I can put them in the other book where they're not looking at pictures, but they're still reading that level 1. And I don't always have time to read, but it's just nice to know that that's an option. So when I do a webinar, if you're interested in this 101 of Orton Gillingham, I would really like to go into a deeper dive of the syllable types, teaching the syllable types, because we have tiger, lion, camel, turtle, rabbit, monster rabbit. We have weasel, W-E-A-S-E-L. That's for vowel teams. And it's really helpful when you're teaching vowel teams. It's hard to come up with words sometimes. And when you're teaching the syllable types, those words are in there. And then I also want to go into more depth about music and why I found that using music is so valuable. Orton Gillingham doesn't promote the music with the reading program, but you're the one in charge. You're the one teaching your child. You can play classical music in their left ear. What I'm going to offer you right now is a free download of my music app. It's called CDSM. You can find it on my website, dyslexia-solutions.com. The music is the very first button and it's free. So download it for free and listen, have your child listen to the music in the left ear as they go through the whole Orton Gillingham lesson with you. In my level 1 program, I have the spelling exercises in the app go with the reading program. And it's just beautiful. But I want to share with you why the music is so important. The attention is arrested with students who have ADHD. Music has an underlying rhythm, which helps the brain anticipate the next steps. And then music can accelerate cognitive and attention success. And I found this with my level 1, but I can't throw that out when I know how valuable the music is. So out of my 6 students, 4 of them, I'm using my second program, which is more of this Orton Gillingham deeper dive. And I'm using music with all of them. Now, the younger kids don't like the earbuds in their ears, so you can get bone conduction earphones. And they look like this. So it just clips right to the back of the head and it doesn't go in their ears. And the kids love it. And the music is played only in the left ear, okay? So if you want more of a workshop where I actually practice with you and teach you the syllable types more in depth, just email me, let me know that's your interest, and I will have a workshop. And I'm so thankful that you joined me today. I hope this has really helped you. And now you're on your way to teaching Orton Gillingham methods. Bye-bye now.